So a Q+A or a quality of earnings report is a report that's performed as part of the financial and tax due diligence process of a transaction. This report can be performed both on the behalf of the buyers as they're going to acquire a company, or sellers as they're looking to sell their business. The quality of earnings report can be used in either setting, and it's a very comprehensive report that pretty much goes into every aspect of the company's financial history, the company's customers, the company's vendors, etc., from soup to nuts. Another key aspect of the quality of earnings report is it's going to detail the primary risks associated with the transaction and any remedies that we can identify as part of our financial due diligence. And finally, it's going to identify some very key analyses that are needed as part of the financial due diligence process, most notably the adjusted EBITDA calculation and the adjusted net working capital calculation. Again, these are two very important pieces as part of the financial due diligence process. And the quality of earnings report is, I would say, probably one of the most important things that's required as part of a transaction, at least currently, especially from the standpoint of bankers or other financiers as they're looking to finance a transaction. I think a quality of earnings report should be considered anytime a buyer is looking to acquire a business or a seller is looking to sell their business. As I mentioned previously, the reports can be used in both settings. From a seller standpoint, it can really identify the risks, the key risks associated with the business that might hinder a transaction. So identifying what those risks are and attempting to remedy those risks may help to facilitate a transaction a lot faster or help the seller get a higher purchase price. From a buyer's standpoint, a quality of earnings report is, again, going to identify the key risks associated with the company that they're looking to acquire. So if there are any major risks that could be stumbling blocks for the transaction, most times a quality of earnings report will help to ferret those situations out so that the buyer understands completely what they're getting into as part of the transaction. Certainly not needed for every transaction, but it is definitely something that's beneficial for either the buyer or the seller. No. Quality of earnings report is typically needed for what I would consider to be larger transactions. From a seller's standpoint, a quality of earnings report, again, is beneficial if they feel that there are a lot of unanswered risks or issues within the business that the seller is looking to identify as part of the lead up to a transaction. A buyer is going to need a quality of earnings report most times if it's required by a bank, or if the buyer believes that there is significant risk associated with the seller. But in most cases, I shouldn't say in most cases, in many cases, a quality of earnings report is not required, and not only is it not required, sometimes it can just be an undue burden as part of the transaction process because it extends the period of time needed to get financial due diligence completed, and it also increases the cost associated to either the seller or the buyer as part of a transaction. So no, it's not required in every situation. So a business valuation is going to identify primarily what the value of a business is. That's the long and the short of it. From the standpoint of an audit is usually a compliance requirement that either a bank or some other financial institution will require of a company as part of their preparation of their financial information to ensure that the financial information is reported in a quality manner and in compliance with generally accepted accounting principles. From the standpoint of a quality of earnings report, a quality of earnings report is meant to really ferret out risks, the risks of a potential company as a seller. So again, a seller will use the quality of earnings report to identify risks. A buyer will use the quality of earnings report to identify what the risks are of a potential acquisition target. That's where the primary differences, I would say, of the three reports. The quality of earnings report is not necessarily going to get into what the value of the particular subject company is. And also the quality of earnings report is going to rely on the audited financial information from the audited financial statement. So both of those reports will help to go into or help to complete a quality of earnings report. So I would say that they're all complementary reports, but there are certainly differences between those three reports.